Hello and welcome to Politics Today. I'm Farooq Patafi. Viewers, today we are going to talk about India-Pakistan relationship, especially with the focus on Indian election. And it seems that Modi Sarkar, the Modi government, will stop at nothing to win the elections, to steal the elections. First, we saw the escalation with Pakistan. Maybe he got whatever dividend he wanted, but apparently it was not enough. Then they struck down a satellite in the lower orbit, and amazingly, a prime minister who is up for re-election actually goes on the national television talking about it. And today, NASA's leader, NASA's head actually said that because of that, attack on the satellite, the International Space Station was under threat as well. But he didn't even stop at that. Once again, last night there was escalation on line of control. 3 of our soldiers were martyred last night. So that game continues. And surprisingly, whatever happens, Election Commission of India doesn't seem to notice it. They take notices, but then say that he didn't exceed anything. And he is well within his rights to do whatever he wants to. Maybe a couple of nukes, maybe a couple of wars will help him win. But is it the kind of cost of victory that India needs? We are going to talk about this and more, and in order to help us understand these issues, we are joined by a very eminent panel. We are joined by Dr. Zubair Hori, an expert on international affairs and political issues. Thank you very much, sir, for being part of the program. Next to him is Air Vice Marshal retired Faiz Zamir Saab. He is also a pedagogue, but he is an expert on defense matters as well. Thank you very much, sir, for being part of the program. Next to him is Dr. Raja Kaisar Ahmed. He is also a pedagogue, teaches, is an expert on international relations. Thank you very much, sir, for being part of the program. Dr. Zubair Hori, I have to start with you. You have seen what India did last night. So is it going to be the new normal throughout the election campaign?
Yeah, that's a very interesting construct that you have used, the new normal. This one they have been using since 2016, that the dynamics of the politics have changed in the region, particularly in the South Asian region. Right. And there was a conference organized by ORF which said that this is the new normal and all the neighbors of India should understand and live with this. This is the new kind of a policy narrative they wanted to spread around. But given the size,
a muscular India or
yes,
an irrational India?
A muscular India, of course, irrationality comes with it. Yeah. It goes without saying. Okay. The problem here is when this government last time came in, Bharatiya Janata Party, everybody knew that it was a right-wing party. It was having the extremist elements in its wings, not only extremist but also violent wings, and also it was the kind of a Hindutva that they were proposing. And if you could see that the selection of the chief minister, particularly in Bihar and UP, that they were not keeping anything secrets from others. So they wanted to go back in the history, they wanted to go back into the extremist things, and they wanted to go back as right-wing as possible. Yeah. People used to blame Pakistan on that. There is a right-wing extremism in Pakistan, but alhamdulillah, we have come a long way out of that.
Yeah. We had a threat, we saw it, yeah, and we have confronted it. Yeah. India doesn't seem to
and
do it.
And we were alive to it.
But one comment about Bihar, because Nitish Kumar is a good leader, he is not thought to be an extremist, is he?
No, Bihar and Gujarat and
in
UP.
Bihar, Nitish Kumar is
Nitish Kumar, I'm not talking about, I'm talking about the Gujarat one.
Okay.
Okay. Now, the problem here is that this kind of a tendency has ripped through the Indian fabric, particularly the recent spat between India and Pakistan. Now, even the Congress party, even the right-wing parties, even the Eastern Indian parties, the Bengal party, they are all hand in glove with each other in lambasting against this government. And they had nothing to show. They tried this, Modi government tried this Notebandi. They tried this, the Shining India thing. They
GST,
tried this.
GST as well.
Yeah, GST as well. They tried this, this saffron campaign. They tried this campaign of uprooting the Muslim traditions inside India, including the Taj in Agra. but they have not been successful. And this is the last mantra they are trying. This may be the last thing. I don't know whether it's been successful or not. But the recent results that have come in, particularly in states like Chhattisgarh and other provinces, that BJP has been on the losing side.
Yeah, MP as well, especially the Hindi belt.
Yes. So now they are trying to get into the fray for the next term of the Prime Minister Modi. But unfortunately, the clash between India and Pakistan paid back very strongly, and India came back with a bloody nose.
Yeah.
And now they are being rebuked on that. So
Yeah.
they are trying to rescue and solve
Yeah, but
all
he
those
keeps
things.
on calling himself Chowkidar. Narendra Modi.
That's
Let
kind of
me
a
bring
mantra.
in.
One more mantra that he's trying to sell.
Let me bring in Faiz Hamid Saab. So your take? Is this war hysteria in India going to continue till the elections are over, or perhaps after that as well?
For both parts of your question, the answer is let's look at Modi's previous elections.
Yeah.
His two major slogans were nationalism, and he was promising an economic activity that promised jobs for everyone in India. He promised over 2 crore jobs every year. So the second part of his promise probably has not materialized much. Based on these two slogans, he won the Hindi belt. More than 85% votes in Hindi belt he won.
And cow belt as well.
And cow belt as well. And he had more than 280 seats all by BJP. So this was after a very long time that BJP won, a single party won a majority, in a clear majority. His NDA, the National Democratic Alliance, they had over 330 seats. So they had more than 60 seats more than the required to make a government. Now, how much has he lost on the economic front? That needs to be seen to see his chances of re-winning.
Demonetization shaves off 2% of the growth. RGST increases inflation beyond imagination.
But these are not the...
Unemployment is there, rampant.
No, we need to... Yes, I agree with you. But we need to look at how much impact would have his economic policies and how much shine he has lost in his nationalist or fascist agenda that he had. He has lost on demonetization. He has not been able to provide jobs. But at the same time, he has provided energy, electricity and gas to the rural areas in India.
So
and that
it was debunked. He claimed that the last village has been covered as well. And then there was...
But there are surveys that claim that he has won substantial votes in that particular belt. Then again, he has opened a lot of schools where people could not go to schools earlier. There's a lot of schools there. So there is a vote that he lost because of the less jobs being created. But there's a vote that he has won probably because of his economic policies for the downtrodden people. Now come on to the nationalist agenda.
Okay.
When you talk of the nationalist agenda, this time in these elections, probably what you see is that the two incidents that you mentioned just prior to the election, the Pulwama incident and the near to wars situation, and second, shooting down the satellite. Now these both are appealing to his old vote bank of the Hindi belt and cow belt, and where he is again has brought up the nationalist fervor, and he is attracting crowds. He is attracting people towards his nationalist agenda. So the worst case scenario for Modi is a 50-50 chance of him losing or winning.
So that is about the elections. Now talk about war hysteria.
War hysteria. Now, since you look at the his economic sort not working, and he mostly relying, not totally, mostly relying on the nationalist or fascist point of view. So I think this is going to continue till elections, the minimum, and if he wins
after elections as well.
After elections, because look at the...
So what are you going to tell those people who think that if someone muscular is going to be returned in elections,
that is what
perhaps it is going to build a better relationship between India and Pakistan?
That is what he has bred over 5 years. The fascism in India. You have seen the Indian behavior, attitude, treatment towards minorities, mostly Hindus and Sikhs, Muslims and Sikhs. So that
and Christians and others.
So this
Dalits as well.
Yeah. So this is going to continue, and the second act that he shot down, the Indians shot down their own satellite, and it was announced by the Prime Minister himself. That speaks of an agenda that India is still vying to be in the top group of 5 or 6 nations,
Yeah, it wants to be a
militarily and
superpower.
technologically. Yeah,
Yeah.
technologically and militarily. And that has been the gain, or that has been the major thrust of Modi's propaganda, that he is going to take his nation ahead in
By the way,
technology.
today there was a very interesting insider news that America believes that it was not the first attempt to, ASAT attempt. The previous one or two actually failed 1 month ago. And then finally they got it right. So he came and announced it. Allow me to actually go to Raja Kaisar as well. Sir, what is your take? You have specialized in BJP's politics. So tell us whether this war hysteria is going to continue beyond election or what can we expect till elections?
No, well, Farokh, this is likely to continue because BJP has come up with a certain niche of agenda. They have something really big in the mind. There is a method in this madness. This is not something which they are only targeting at 2019's elections. They are actually targeting that entire construct of Hindu Rashtra, which they are targeting.
Akhand Bharat?
Not directly Akhand Bharat. In the first place, they want an amendment into the Indian constitution. They have repeatedly expressed their resentment over Ambedkar's version or the Nehruvian state model.
Yeah.
They want to get a majority in Rajya Sabha, and by doing this, they want to incorporate or they want to expand. Yeah.
Modi speaks highly of Ambedkar. How is it that they are opposing Ambedkar's consensus and yet they are praising him?
Because you know they want to eliminate all those constitutional protections or those constitutional landmarks which guarantees India's pluralism, India's secular image. They want India to be exclusive Hindu majoritarian state.
Okay.
This is where they are targeting at Indian constitution in a way which could eliminate Article 35A, Article 370
Okay.
and all those clauses.
That's about Kashmir, right?
Yeah,
So
not
what
not
else?
particularly only about Kashmir, but all those clauses which are somehow precipitating in the form of composite culture in India, which Congress is espousing with, or which Congress has always talked for. So this is something which BJP is targeting at. This is something which Bhajpa is actually aiming at. So this is what they are right now vying for, they are aiming at, and this is what they are hankering after.
So
if
this bout of madness, this war hysteria may be sponsored by the big billionaires like Mukesh Ambani. Is it going to continue during the elections?
yeah, it is likely to continue, and plus, you know what?
Can
when
we expect
you see,
any
when
more
you see-
misadventures?
You see, what is wrong with India right now is that it is Pakistan which actually limits India's territorial ambitions. When India envisages itself in the pretext of the major powers, as my fellow colleagues and as you were highlighting in the earlier part of the program, so when India sees itself into the matrix of its geographical proximity, on one hand they are bordered by China, on the other hand they are bordered by Pakistan, so it does not give them that kind of liberty to execute and accentuate themselves as, you know, into that kind of particular stature which they are envisioning themselves. So when this leads to a kind of frustration.
So
in
what is
India's-
the worst, Raja Sahab, that can happen during the elections?
You know, you can expect, as far as these border escalations are concerned, this is kind of a limited war which India has imposed on our borders for last 5 years.
Yeah.
So we are dealing with it. It is likely to continue unabated, plus mudslinging, plus at the same time, you know, this warmongering, hate cultivation within the cow belt and within this entire electoral landscape. And but to my utmost surprise, it is working out well for them.
Okay.
What I am foreseeing is something, you know, BJP coming back perhaps with a slimmer majority, but again, secure,
No, but
it might
then
secure
there are
them a term.
voices, correct me if I'm wrong, there are voices that have been heard that if BJP comes back with slimmer majority and if it has to rely on an alliance to form government, then Modi will not be the candidate of premiership. It will be Nitin Gadkari or somebody of that sort.
Yeah, indeed. You see, very conveniently they have scrapped Lal Krishna Advani, who had been a stalwart for BJP. So very conveniently he had been
But
sidelined.
after Vajpayee, they had to bring in Modi. That meant that they are going to continue the movement towards radicalization. Now, people would have thought that Yogi Adityanath is going to be the next PM. But if they are going back to Nitin Gadkari, that means that they want a more moderate face. Is it true? RSS does it?
No, the point is that this entire construct of Hindu nationalism, it is somehow very different. It does not revolve around the personality cult. It is more of something where you can call these people as apostles, or someone who are the ideologues and the zealots who are actually working towards a greater agenda. And you would
Yeah,
see
but
that
everybody has to do something ridiculously big to actually make their mark, right? First, Advani actually brought down the, Babri Mosque, and he became popular, the party became popular. Then Gujarat happens. Modi becomes big in the party. And now Yogi Adityanath is thought to be the similar kind of character. So that's what I'm saying, that whether RSS has decided to reverse its radicalization spree, or
no, it is likely to continue unabated. Reason being that it is working well for them. Why they have to, because Congress is at the back foot. I was expecting rather a more
Congress
robust
is not on
electoral.
back foot,
No,
sir.
no.
It came up with a very good economic plan.
No, it has come up with a very good economic plan, but at the same time, it has not been able to muster alliances which it was anticipating. So, a major setback. You see, you are contesting in Uttar Pradesh without any alliance.
And
it
there's
is
no
likely
possibility
to
of
be
a
suicidal.
third morcha, a third alliance possible, a leftist alliance.
At this point, it is not possible.
It is not possible. As Dr. Zubair Khori, now what happens to Kashmir in this climate?
Well, Kashmir will remain a sore point given the election, and if unfortunately BJP comes back.
They're not holding local elections there.
Yeah. So if they come back, the atrocities will continue, and there is no chance of abating at the moment because of the right-wing sentiment. Okay. As regards the Modi sentiment that was there in the last election, that was their poster boy. And they sold it, yes. And they sold it like, if you look at the corporate communication strategy, they followed that corporate communication strategy. Yeah. They used TV, they used radio, they used social media. Yeah. And now there is also a narrative that is being there. The whole media behind that narrative, nationalism is there. Now they have become that chowkidar, everybody is chowkidar. That the word chowkidar, the watchman, denotes the very fact that they are going to follow that nationalist agenda that is being protected against Pakistan.
Dr. Saab, correct me if I'm wrong, but similarly, we saw an example of Soviet Union, which was progressing by leaps and bounds. And somewhere on the way, they decided the economic element is not going to matter. And they kept on posturing, muscular postures, right? Yeah. In the end, what happened to them?
Yeah.
Are you telling me that India is going in the same direction?
I'm not getting
because
that far.
Economy is really bad.
Economy is in a bad shape. Economy is in bad shape. But as Faisal was saying, that last time when they came in, they had two slogans. One, of course, the Hindutva or the nationalism, and the two was economic front. And they failed miserably
Gujarat
on the
model,
economic
right?
Yes, the Gujarat model. They want to replicate that model here. But we must understand here.
They might have failed in delivering to the common man,
no.
But they did not to Mukesh Ambani. Mukesh Ambani had a net worth of $40 billion last year. Now he has 60.
Yeah, Mukesh Ambani has been following and still been following the BJP government, but there are also some conspiracy theories going on that he is also supporting some other parties as well, that if this horse loses...
Like which one?
Like the Congress one.
Okay.
Yeah, they're getting into the Congress feed as well.
But not as... He practically owns all the media houses.
All the media houses,
and all the pollsters.
Yes.
So whatever is coming forward...
Yeah, win-win position for everybody. Now the point here is the Indian posturing for becoming the so-called Maharaja or the Thekedar of this whole region has taken a serious setback. You look at the initial posturing of American President Trump toward India, and latest when in Afghanistan, Pakistan's role is improving and Pakistan's support is required, the Trump administration had pulled back their support. Similar is the case with China. China is very close to Pakistan. That is that is showing in every international front.
How has Trump pulled back support? Trump is actually supporting Pakistan's position right
Pakistan's position. They
Yeah.
have pulled back the support from India,
Yeah.
and they have withdrawn that special status from the Indians that they were granted to them before. Now they are kind of trying to win back that situation in Afghanistan so that they could play a regional bigger player, and they wanted to show that we are the regional bigger player. So this is a compounding factor of all these things that they have been trying to win through. The issue here is with the government at the moment, because the elections are just around the corner, they have nothing to show as far as the economic performance is concerned.
Yeah.
The unemployment is on the rise, the economy is in a bad condition since
And the
last 5 years.
non-performing assets have really piled together.
Yes, and the whole fabric of the Indian society, which used to take pride in its communalism, in its tolerance, so-called, in its so-called 180 million Muslims that are living in India, and look at the posturing of India in the Dubai talks of OIC, that they wanted to represent the Indian Muslim, that they're not the representative of the, only Pakistan is not the representative of that. So the whole have taken a setback. So perhaps this is the only flag they can carry. And my worst fear is that this flag is carrying at the moment in many parts of India.
We wouldn't know because we have seen Indian media went totally bonkers recently, and we cannot even trust the pollsters there because they have also lost their.
Just today, I've seen
in
the
MP
Indian media was praising Pakistan's information machinery, particularly ISPR.
that is how they frame
they
you.
have won.
No, that's how they actually talk you up and then frame you.
Yes.
They did exactly the same thing with ISI. Now nobody realizes how big a nuisance Indian RAW is. They keep on talking about ISI because that's how India frames you. Sir, what happens in Kashmir?
Well, just a sentence about RSS or BJP replacing Modi in case they win with a slimmer majority. I think if you look at the essence of the agenda, and that's nationalism. And they cannot dent that nationalism by removing Modi from that scene. So I think it is, the elections
So
are...
why do we call it India Hindu nationalism? Are we going to call Al-Qaeda Arab nationalism or Muslim Islamist nationalism?
No, you have seen their agenda. You have seen their agenda, and I have been calling it fascist agenda because
They're
they
terrorists.
are... Yeah. So,
Half of them are terrorists. They kill people.
yeah. So what I'm saying is that even if they come with a slimmer majority, Modi would remain their candidate. Now let's come back to the Kashmir issue. I'll take you back to 9/11. Post 9/11 world, the Indians harped upon or gained from two phenomena. The first one was the anti-terrorism that prevailed in the world, and the second one was the rise of China, and both went in favor of India.
Until now.
Until now.
Now it is changing.
It's too early to say, predict, or it's changing. But if you look
I'll
at,
give you pointers after you have made your point.
Okay, let me make
Yeah,
my
please go
point.
ahead, sir.
Okay, so they by harping on Pakistan as a terrorist state, and by making alliances with not only United States but with France, Germany, Australia, and Japan, I think they achieved two things, or they vied for two things. First was suppression of the Pakistan's voice in support of Kashmir and the Kashmiri cause, and the second one was their continued relentless efforts to get a seat in the Security Council, and that has remained. Now that also shows their agenda for future. So I think in future as well, the Indians are not going to, as they're not going to change Modi as their leader, because the elections are not only about party, they're about leader also. And Modi is probably the face of the Hindu nationalism or Hindu fascism, what you may call, is the face of it. So with him remaining in the seat, their struggle or their endeavors to get a seat in the Security Council, their endeavors to keep Pakistan isolated on one pretext or the other, I think that will continue, and that is going to what is probably harm the Kashmiri's interest.
Right. One thing that is quite interesting regarding Narendra Modi being the poster boy of Hindutva, it is said that now whenever they have a Hindutva gathering, the poster child or the person who is invited with vigor is Yogi Adityanath, not Narendra Modi. So he might have actually played his part, but world is moving on. India is
he
moving
became
on.
a nationalist leader after he won his previous election as CM. So he became a nationalist leader, but I think he hasn't caught up yet on Modi.
Yeah, he's not that much on the national stage at the moment as much as Prime Minister Modi is. And why should
He
Modi
may
will let his position go at this point in time, and he's leading all these efforts?
Okay, right. As we speak, I'm being told that there is a fresh escalation on LOC. So India keeps on doing it time and again, and that doesn't seem to stop. But your takes on Kashmir, what exactly is going to happen in Kashmir?
Something very dastardly is in the offing.
Yeah.
You know, you can expect something which is very unexpected. Perhaps something like, you know, people, if you see in India, talking about kind of a Gaza blockade kind of a situation towards Kashmiris, perhaps where they could push Pakistan, you know, this people from the valley towards this side of, or perhaps towards Azad Kashmir, and then perhaps issuing a kind of a blockade where they could not come back, and that is how they could, you know, have a serenity and some kind of calmness within the valley. These are also things which are, you know, under discussion within India when they are, because, you know, they have literally gone nuts. So this is what, because up to this point of time they haven't been unable to quell and quash insurgency within.
Yeah, but
it has taken
since they're
indigenous
talking
roots.
about, with due respect, since they're talking about Article 370 and 35A, it seems that somehow they plan to surgically, like Israel, remove the local population
Yeah.
and then replace them with their own favorites.
With their own people.
So they need land of Kashmir. They don't need Kashmiris.
Yeah.
Is it true?
This is what I am
And
saying.
is it going to work?
But no, if it is not going to work, but what we are talking right now is about what BJP is thinking about Kashmir. Something more ferocious, something more you see unexpected, and something which can be in fact more aphotic, which BJP is coming up with, and given
Is
a
it
chance.
why they have suspended the state level elections in Kashmir?
And that is why they have imposed the Governor Raj as well.
Yeah, no longer Governor Raj, now it is Presidential Raj.
No, indeed. But
It
the
is
point is the way they have
worse
dismissed
form
their,
of the
yeah,
same.
yeah, one step ahead. So this is where, you know, this is the continuation. BJP will come up with a very, you know, they have tried their muscular policy in Kashmir, and it has not worked at all. In fact, Kashmir is becoming more a flashpoint right now than it was before. If you see very recently.
Yeah, Kashmir has two aspects. One, because
No,
of
if you-
LOC and Pakistan-India confrontation, it is a flashpoint. The second thing is, and that has
Indigenous
been pointed out,
resistance.
the human rights issue.
If you have come across the report and an article which has been published by New York Times a few days, I mean just 3-4 days
Yeah.
before, that was about how the educated youth and how the people, how the intellectual camaraderie within the Jammu and
No,
Kashmir.
that is
it
one thing that is happening
yeah.
on the ground. What I wanted to ask you is, usually when there is a large-scale human rights violation and it continues for some time, the question then arises that world waits for some time and then starts reacting. Do you think that there is going to be such a red line? If that is crossed, the world is going to respond or react?
Well,
Apart from merely publishing
there had
reports.
been reports already. UNHCR has given a report on Kashmir. Amnesty International has given a damning report on India's blatant human rights violations. What's next? You know, international law, it does not have any implementation mechanism. So, that is why we
Right,
term it as a weaker law.
Raja Kaisar, I'm going to come back to you, sir. I'm told that I'm joined by Raza Khan, the senior correspondent of Pakistan Television World. He's going to tell us about the recent escalation on line of control. Raza Khan, go ahead.
Yes, what has happened is that there has been an increase in the ceasefire violations from the Indian side during the last 48 to 72 hours. And in those ceasefire violations, last night 3 Pakistan army soldiers were martyred, including Sepoy Mohammad Shahid, and then there was Lance Havildar Azizullah, and then there was Subedar Muhammad Riaz. And what happened today was that Pakistan Army managed to take revenge, and they responded befittingly to the fire emanating from the Indian posts, and as a result, heavy damage has been inflicted on the Indian posts, and in the exchange of fire, as many as several Indian posts have been damaged, and 7 confirmed Indian soldiers have been killed, while 19 are injured. These are not speculative reports; these are confirmed reports by Inter-Services Public Relations, and 3 Pakistani soldiers which were martyred yesterday during the exchange of fire. They were buried with full military honor. And the Indian forces today opened up fire in one more sector, that was Kuirata, and they deliberately targeted civilian population. An 18-year-old young boy was martyred, while 3 women got injured. The injured have been evacuated to hospital. So, Farooq, the thing is that it may be away from the most of the people because they're away from the LOC. But the thing is that every day Pakistanis living and the Kashmiris living across the LOC, they're facing the brunt of this cruelty from the Indian side, who open indiscriminate fire on the civilian populations, and then of course Pakistan Armed Forces retaliate, by directing their fire solely on those very posts from where the fire
Right.
comes from. So this is
Raza
the
Khan,
situation.
thank you very much for talking to us. This was Raza Khan, PTV's correspondent, updating us on the situation on line of control. And let me come back to the studio and let me ask Raja Kaisar to actually comment on this now. Sanjay.
Well, I was making a comment in the earlier part of the program. It is the continuation, unabated continuation of something which is there for last 4 years, and it is actually BJP is trying to demonstrate to its people that we are giving Pakistan a very befitting response, and we are teaching Pakistan a lesson, and we are giving Pakistan a job-breaking response. This is what they are selling to their masses, and it
Yeah,
is
but they were given a response
no,
in
but
kind.
that they have been given every time. You see the way they have maneuvered over that entire debacle of IAF, and
Yeah,
the
they
way
kind of keep on benefiting from war from either side, right?
From
and
either
that is a good point. But let me come back to AVM Saab first. Sir, it seems that India has a luxury that Pakistan doesn't have. It doesn't care about human rights. When it violates or it attacks LOC, it doesn't mind attacking the civilian population as well. On the other side, Pakistan says that Kashmiris on the other side of the border are our own people, so we cannot attack the people or innocent people. So how do you break this deadlock? I mean, soft targets have many across LOC, here and there. So India keeps on doing it. What are you going to do about it?
Actually, since it continues to feed into their narrative,
Yeah.
domestic narrative, where the press reads, Pakistan continues to violate LOC. Indian forces gave befitting response, 7 killed, 5 killed, and that shows Modi as a tough man, macho man,
Yeah.
who is responding to Pakistan. So these, at the least, I think these violations are going to continue till about the elections day. That is about
So what happens to
15th
the
April.
civilian population
Yeah,
on Azad
so-
Kashmir
so
soil?
Since civilian populations this side or on that side is not so important to the Indian side, so they don't mind. They in their narratives they talk of destroying Pakistani bunkers, but probably they hardly have a video to support that kind of a narrative that they make or the claims that they make. So it is almost it is not focused bombing that they do or focused shelling that they do. It's across the entire LOC. These days it is mostly towards Rajouri and Poonch sectors,
Sure.
but it's across the sectors. And that is what they aim at, creating harassment, making Pakistan respond in kind, making Pakistan damage certain houses, certain civilian setups over there, and they then igniting the entire their propaganda machine. So I think Pakistan, while it will continue to respond to all those hostilities from the Indian side, maybe proportionately, not so disproportionately, I think Pakistan should continue to take this Indians hostilities to international fora, even if he's not being listened to. I think we must continue to appeal on behalf of the Kashmiri people.
Yeah,
who
but
have been,
I understand that, sir. But with due respect, people who are dying are not expendable, especially the civilian population, right? And that becomes a concern. Indian government, Dr. Saab, keeps on hurting innocent people to win election. What kind of dystopian, cheap version of democracy is this?
I like the phrase the dystopian.
Yeah.
Because that sells in the market.
Okay.
People.
So is democracy not about human rights?
It is very much.
what
But
happens to
nationalism
that?
sells. Over the years,
what
Pakistan has
nationalism?
come out of it. that-
Loving your own nation is nationalism.
Of course.
Hating
yeah.
others is
Yeah,
not nationalism.
That's what the nationalism they are propagating.
That becomes fascism.
Yeah,
That's
it
become
is.
fascism. That's what they are propagating. Gone are the days when it was said that Pakistan-India rivalry becomes the basis of elections in Pakistan. Pakistan has come a long way. Pakistan has got a much more mature leadership now. But in India still, the anti-Pakistan movement sells, and sells like a big thing. But one more point that I want to bring in here, this policy of fascism, thank you very much, Faisal, for giving this word. This fascism policy has its own opportunity cost. Because of this, although people have lost their lives in Kashmir, Kashmir has become once more alive than before.
Yeah.
Because of these atrocities here, because of this spat between India and Pakistan, everybody in the world was asking, what was the real problem? Why they were quarreling? Even if they didn't know it before, they knew it now, particularly the younger generations, that it is the Kashmir issue over which Pakistan and India have issues with. Secondly, India wanted to isolate Pakistan and degrade Pakistan's forces, that we cannot retaliate, we are a big brother and we can snub you like anything.
Yeah.
But Pakistan has come out winner and everybody is appreciating all the
Even
neutral
today,
elements.
Even today, it
Yeah.
was paid back and more than number.
Yeah.
But when it comes to violation of LOC, I understand that there is my army and it is going to safeguard and give them job-breaking answer. The concern now is about Kashmiris. I
The
mean,
concern is about
they are
Kashmiris.
dying and they are being blinded.
And that's
I
very-
can say that, okay, there is an opportunity that the world is watching and noticing it. But, sir, they are
Yeah.
our own people.
Yeah.
They are dying.
Yeah, they are dying.
And
This
here I feel helplessness.
This is a very unfortunate part of our history, that if something happens in Israel, everybody is raising hue and cry. This is a world of power politics. Israel has got stakes with all the leaders in the world, with the Americans, with the British, with the French, with the Spanish. But unfortunately, nobody is raising that much louder a voice for the Palestinians. Look at the problem in Sudan. There were Christians in South Sudan,
Yeah,
and
but
they were giving separation. They were given their voice. Look at East Timor, what happened there, because they were not Muslims. I'm not selling a theory here,
No,
but
no, I'm
whenever
not
there
talking
is a
about
problem
Salvi.
of Muslims,
My humble submission is I don't care about the entire world. I care about my own neighborhood. I care about the people that are my people, right? Kashmiris are suffering. And they are, I mean, for Palestine, entire Arab world comes together. OIC comes together.
Hardly.
For, I mean, come on. They do.
Hardly on
Now,
Palestine.
this
No,
time,
in this recent
in
situation, they're
Golan
doing nothing.
Heights, Arab League came
they
together.
are just doing nothing. They're just saying
Sir, with due
verbal.
respect-
When
No, no,
Saudi
hang on,
Arabia
hang on.
is trying to go with Israel, when
You have to understand what I'm trying to say.
when Jordanians
you know,
are
they are
supporting
they are
them-
contiguous and they can take care of it. Kashmir, Palestine has been highlighted by Arabs a lot. When it comes to Kashmir, Kashmir has only one advocate, that is Pakistan. And we keep on doing it repeatedly. And at this moment, it seems that Kashmiris are at the receiving end and the world is not going to respond. So, is there a way to wake the world up?
Well, we have been trying, and there has been some recent reports in UNHCR, they have been in European Union, they have been in United Nations, people are raising the voice. But I'm saying that these voices are not loud enough for Palestinians as they were in South Sudan, as they were in East Timor, as they should have been in Kashmir. One of the problems here is
If I
that-
die, my shriek is not good enough to wake the world up.
Yes, yes.
Is it what you are saying?
No, I'm just
so
saying.
the world order is especially and
course.
particularly
Therefore, they're
unequal when it comes to human rights. Kashmiris don't have rights.
Of course.
Others might have.
That's what they are saying. Some people are equal
Sure.
and some are more equal.
Sir, right,
The
sir.
closest that the world came to realize the importance of Kashmir to the regional peace was 26th February this year, 27th February.
Sir.
And that is where the Indians failed miserably. They wanted to suppress Kashmir, Pulwama incident, but actually in their own actions, they highlighted Kashmir issue. That is where, and all the major capitals of the world got involved with Pakistan and India to de-escalate the situation. So I think that is where we came too close to fighting for Kashmir. But I think that is not the way. We will have to continue to raise the voice in international fora. We'll have to continue to provide moral support. There's a Kashmiri diaspora outside.
Right.
We need
But,
to. We need
but-
to. We need to. We
no,
need to.
I understand this argument, sir, but with due respect, you just told me that India has a nefarious plan to actually uproot the Kashmiris and mostly kill them or just displace them and transplant other people there. So, is it the kind of time, do we have the kind of time to advocate?
I think short of going to war, that you don't want that to happen in this region, there's only way left is through diplomacy. And that probably is the only way at the moment, that through diplomacy at the highest forums, at the largest forums, in the international forums, that you need to continue to raise the Kashmiri voice. I think the other option is too destructive for the entire region and
Yeah,
for the
and
entire
I'm not
globe.
advocating a war. I'm saying that there should be a better way possible. Unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be any. That means there are no options. Raja Kaisa, you get the final word. What happens now? Are the Kashmiris going to suffer in the same way forever?
Yeah, they apparently they are the children of lesser God. So they are likely to suffer in the way as they are suffering, because the conscience of international community, it is sleeping for quite a while. And as my fellow colleague was pointing out, that there are selective moralities, there are dichotomous agendas. When it comes to some other country, they have a very different kind of criterion, but when it comes to Kashmir, it is something which is very different. So, but this is indeed very appalling and very unfortunate, and it is very painful as well.
Right.
But at the same time, you have to see what are the opportunities, what are the alternatives which are available to you. Like AVM Sab was pointing out that you cannot afford to have an apocalypse. The war option is just like next to apocalypse in this region, and under the nuclear umbrella, it is going to be something which is unimaginable.
Raja Sahab, there are 4 people sitting in this studio, including me. Have you heard anybody advocating war?
No, but now what ought to be done is right now, because Pakistan is now into negotiation phase with America, and Pakistan is playing a constructive role in Afghanistan. President Obama, though Trump is undoing Obama on every front, but he has promised to appoint a delegate over Kashmir. Perhaps this is the time
Let's
where
hope
Pakistan
that
can
something
negotiate.
happens. Raja
Then
Sahab,
British, they should be taken into it, because the onus is on to them. It is the unfinished agenda of partition.
On that kind of note of hope, I have to conclude the program, but whenever I think about Kashmiris and what they are going through, my heart breaks, it bleeds. At this moment, we have to conclude the program. Raja Kaisa Ahmed, thank you very much for your time. Zubair Hori Sahab, thank you very much for your time as well. Faiz Hamid Sahab, it is always great having you in the show. Viewers, I tell you something that is quite interesting. Since we are sitting next to India, we keep on receiving messages from Kashmir, the pictures. I swear I cannot show you the kind of pictures that I have seen. And one is really ashamed that we cannot do anything for people who are being brutalized. One hopes that someday maybe Indians are going to raise voice, because I believe that people are essentially good in nature. But then one sees how Narendra Modi and his team get away with murder. So at this moment, then one expects that the entire world is going to take notice. Then no notice. You keep on publishing reports, but reports are not going to stop an aggressor from aggression. So I don't know what exactly is going to happen. It is the time when a person like me, who is conscientious, who believes in humanity, feels really ashamed because of what is happening. This was today's program. Thank you very much for watching us. Take care.